Hey Gators and sports fans, get all your Gator talk, news, analysis, and opinions on the Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning podcast. Find us on your favorite podcast platform or watch us on Facebook Live between 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. every weekday. Pod Up, because we are Gator fans. So say it's great to be a Florida Gator.
High School Roundup, and also our good buddy Brent Beaird, that you can follow him on Twitter at Brent Beaird. So we're going to go straight to the Titan More hotline, and we're joined by Brent. Good morning, Brent. How are you?
Well, I'm doing well. I'm excited for several reasons. Number one, I get to speak to the Clay County Gator Club tonight via Zoom, so that should be interesting. Two is we have fall weather on the way, which is a good break for all of us. And three, another big weekend of SEC football around the corner.
That's true. You know, Brent, I spoke 2 weeks ago to the Orlando Touchdown Club in person. I think it was Monday, I spoke to the DeLand Quarterback Club in person. And then I had to speak to the Gainesville Quarterback Club Tuesday night on Zoom. And I must say it was very strange. I was basically talking into a screen, and then they asked questions, which was fine. But it was weird, kind of talking sports, talking my career, but not seeing the faces of any of them.
Yeah. Well, the good thing is at least the club continues to meet, and I'm sure that it's a tough dilemma for a lot of these clubs, but at least they're continuing.
That's right. Well, Brent, before we get into the SEC, I guess the game of the week would be Ohio State at Penn State, even though Penn State's coming off the loss to Indiana.
Yeah, and Penn State trying to get themselves together after that difficult loss. They had about a 5-minute decision from the officials on what to do about the winning points. But still, look, that still can't take away a lot from this game. That there's a lot on the line. Obviously, Penn State can get certainly back into the conversation very quickly with a win here. The biggest problem that the Big Ten has right now is that their presidents and their arrogance gave them such a tight window. Such as the Wisconsin game being canceled this weekend, as far as they gave themselves no wiggle room like the SEC and these other conferences did. And unfortunately, that's going to cause them a lot of trouble as the season goes along.
Yeah, and I guess the other big game that's very intriguing to a lot of people, you know, Cincinnati goes and handily beats SMU. They're like 7th in the country. A lot of people think they may have an outside shot at the 14 playoff. Memphis rolls into town. That could be a fun game to watch.
Yeah, that could be a 55-50 type thing, frankly. But by the way, Memphis's D coordinator, Mac McIntyre, was offered the Austin Peay job. He turned it down, and the interim coach at Southern Miss took that job, which means that basically Southern Miss will have I think it's 4 coaches in the last maybe 3 months or something like that. That may unfortunately be a record for Southern Miss and everybody else.
So the Southern Miss interim coach took the Austin Peay job. So has he left town in Hattiesburg, or is he going to finish out the year, or how's that going to work?
That's a great question. I'm not sure that's even been decided yet at this point. So you would hope he would finish the year. But he may need to go ahead and get on and start recruiting and so forth. So, but still, that gives Southern Miss, which frankly is probably a better job than people realize, a lot of instability that they don't want.
Correct. One last thing, Tua's little brother Talia transfers from Alabama to Maryland. I watched some of this game, Brent. Maryland might have been the worst football team I've seen since this year of college football. They are horrible.
Mike, and I agree with that. Mike Loxley, who is on the Alabama staff, is the coach at Maryland, and they really are struggling to get it together, frankly. So, and Talia, who is to his brother, threw for 94 yards and three interceptions. So it was a difficult debut for him.
Yeah. The Tuscaloosa, Alabama hosts Mississippi State coming off a bye. I think Mississippi State's defense is, quote, ranked number 1 in the league. What do you see happening in this game?
Well, I think Bama may in this game by halftime, frankly.
Mm-hmm.
Mississippi State has a lot of internal issues right now. First of all, they've got to decide on their quarterback, who probably is going to be Will Rogers. KJ Costello is still there, so they may end up rotating a little bit. The biggest issue for State right now is Kylan Hill. This is the tremendous running back, easily one of the best running backs in the league. And we don't know exactly. Mike Leach has said, well, I really haven't seen him. I hear he's probably opting out and getting ready for the NFL. So that right now is about all we can go on. But that's unfortunate because Hill really needed a year where he would have stayed and improved on his performance. But obviously he's not going to play this year. They're struggling with their offensive line too. But here's a note for Leach. I know they've had a lot of transition and attrition, but Shane, as you know, when he was at Texas Tech and Washington State, they really struggled in their first year or two, and then after that, he did real well. For instance, at Texas Tech, he was 14-11 in the first couple of years, and then the next 8 years, he was 70-32. So, I mean, Leach knows what he's doing. He's quirky, he's different, but he'll still do a good job for them. But that's not going to help them this weekend. Bama's playing, frankly, on all cylinders. Offensively, the defense is getting better. LeBron Ray's going to be sitting out this game. But guys like Byron Young have really stepped it up. They're playing better. They got some of the young kids in against Tennessee. I believe they'll be able to do the same thing. They've won 12 straight in this series. So keep in mind, Bama plays Mississippi State. They're off next week, and then they have a what could be a gargantuan game coming up at LSU after that.
Brent, they lose Waddle, who probably is the most electrifying player with the ball in his hands in college football. I know it's going to hurt them, but they have so much talent at the wide receiver position. Do you think they miss a beat from here on out?
Well, I'll say this. Waddle, frankly, would have gone to New York as a Heisman candidate. I mean, he's that good. And where Waddle would really help them would have been in some of the matchups if they've got to the playoffs with the Clemsons of the world. But as you said, they do. And they've got guys like Slade Bolden who stepped up and had a very good game. They've got a kid named Javon Baker who they really like that has a little bit of Waddle in him, but it's going to be very hard to replace him. But still, Devontae Smith and that crew are just or really good, and Mac Jones has done a tremendous job with that passing game.
Another intriguing game, and I think a lot of people are anxious to watch this, when Arkansas goes to College Station. I'm anxious to see, Brent, because we all know Arkansas, what Sam Pittman's done, what Barry Odom's done defensively has been phenomenal. But they've done them against two teams that rely heavy on pass with Ole Miss and Mississippi State. You know, they're only rushing 3, dropping 8 into coverage. They're going to face a more balanced attack with A&M that can do both. How do you see this game playing out?
Well, this game, if it lives up to the last few years, 5 of the last 6 games have been decided by 7 points or less. 3 of them have gone to overtime. Now, A&M's had the better of it in dominating Arkansas, and Arkansas really is tired of this at this point. They actually lead the nation in interceptions. Now, they had a lot of them against State, and we understand that, but their defense has not allowed anybody they played better than 40% on third downs. So that's a big plus for them. Defensively, they've been really good. I think Bumper Poole has been hurt. He's supposed to be coming back. Grant Morgan and Hudson Clark are basically two walk-ons, and Grant Morgan's like the third leading tackler in the nation, which is amazing. But A&M is playing well. Their offensive line's been solid. Kellen Mond is the number 8 passer in the league. Felipe Frank's number 9. Isaiah Spiller is a guy they've got to stop. Spiller is one of the better running backs, obviously, in the league. Jalen Wandermeyer, the tight end, is also good. I mean, I'm with you. This is almost a coin flip. Now, they play at A&M this year, and next year they're supposed to be going back to Jerry's World, where they played the series for quite a while. Arkansas fans aren't real happy about that because they'd like to have a game in Fayetteville if they could do so. This is a really fierce rivalry, and I'm with you. Keep your eye on this one.
Yep. At Chris Doring Mortgage, they do mortgage lending right, helping home buyers throughout Gainesville and North Central Florida. Call Chris Doring Mortgage today, 352-244-0840. We're speaking with Brent Beaird here on the Titan Tomorrow Hotline. You can follow Brent on Twitter at Brent Beaird. Auburn is hosting the LSU Tigers. LSU looked very impressive with their freshman quarterback, TJ Finley. I thought they played better defensively. They had a lot of things go their way. They scored multiple ways. I don't trust Bo Nix. Is TJ Finley going to start at quarterback, or is Miles Brennan still in the mix?
From what we understood last night, Finley is going to be the quarterback. He's 6'6", 240. He did really well, obviously, last week. So against South Carolina, and I think that will probably continue. That they've made things pretty simple for him, and they've pretty well developed the offense around his talent. So that's made a difference. Now, interestingly enough, they've got another freshman quarterback who is the son of Brad Johnson, who I'm sure you probably know. Mm-hmm. So that would be interesting to see at some point if he gets a look. They did lose Rosenthal, one of their offensive linemen. He's going to be replaced by Cam Wire, Camwire. LSU's won 3 straight in the series. They've run the ball well with John Emery and Davis Price. Terrence Marshall is almost just such a terror when he gets into the secondary. 21 catches, 7 touchdowns at this point. For Auburn, they've lost one of their better offensive linemen, who is now out for the year, Brandon Council. Bo Nix played a bit better against Ole Miss last week. As a matter of fact, in this game last year, Kevin Steele, the Auburn D coordinator, had a 3-2-6 at one point on defense, which was interesting. Seth Williams bailed Nix out several times. Tank Bigsby is one of the better running backs in the league now. He's had 3 games where he's run for 100 yards. But Gus is 7-16 against Bama, Georgia, and LSU. So, Shane, this is a big game for him. And let's hope that Auburn doesn't have any more controversy this year from the officials.
Well, usually when you get those type of breaks that they've gotten in those 2 games, it turns into kind of a special type year. I mean, they're sitting at 3-2, Brent, right now, mm-hmm. and honestly, they should be 1-4.
That's right.
So it's I'm sure the fans are not happy with Gus, and like I said, Bo Nix played a little bit better last week, but he still runs around way too much for me.
He does. He does.
Their recipe is to turn around and hand it to the tailback. That's going to keep them in the game. Brent, the Gators coming off about 16 days not doing a dang thing other than Zoom meetings, host the Missouri Tigers, who, quite honestly, I don't know if I've ever seen a game so lopsided statistically as it was against Kentucky. Your thoughts on this game?
Well, one of the more amusing things I've heard the whole week was, and this is almost physically impossible, but Missouri had 92 plays. Kentucky had 36. Mm-hmm. 36. That's amazing. The best line about this I've heard all week is Kentucky had 36 plays, and even Shakespeare had 37 plays. So that's the best thing I've heard all week. Look, Shane, I'm sure you've been interested like I have in how well Missouri's done. I mean, they're 2-2. This team that beat LSU held them 4 downs at the goal line. Larry Roundtree is one of the better backs in the league. Florida's got to be careful about him. Connor Basilek, they changed quarterbacks a couple of games ago, and he's really stood out and done well. They've got a linebacker named Nick Bolton, who has 35 tackles in 3 games, one of the better ones in the league, frankly. But Drinkwith has done a really good job with this team. Obviously, Florida's got a lot of questions. How's the timing going to be in the passing game at this point? Can the defense tackle better, particularly with Larry Roundtree? But I think a humongous plus for Florida is Kyrie Campbell coming back on that defensive line, which means that you've got other guys, Zach Carter, who can go to the outside. That will help them. I do think Florida is able to win the game, which will be humongous because of the Georgia game next week. And as a matter of fact, the unusual thing about this week is both Florida and Georgia play other opponents before they play each other. And that is the first time that's happened since 2012.
Yeah, speaking of Georgia, they got Kentucky. Looks like Terry Wilson will not play. Joey Gatewood, highly touted kid out of Jacksonville, will finally get an opportunity to start a game. I'm not sure you want to have your first start against the Georgia Bulldogs, though.
No, you really don't. And Joey's only been eligible since September the 30th. So they've been working him in slowly. He played and got into the game a little bit last week against Missouri, but he didn't do that much, frankly. And they've got another freshman, Bo Allen, that they like, but Gatewood's going to play. He's got a little bit more experience, which will help. But your point's a really good one with Georgia. And I watch the quarterback situation here. Stetson Bennett will start. But is this the game that put J.T. Daniel in for a little bit and see what he does? Dwayne Mathis is still the backup, or listed as the backup, so that will be interesting. Kenny McIntosh has a minor knee injury at running back, so he may not play that much. I think Georgia wins this game at this point eventually fairly comfortably because Shane, Kentucky's got one of the better defensive in the league, but they're really struggling offensively. I don't think we saw that coming, so certainly advantage Georgia in this one.
Yeah, no doubt. Lane Kiffin gets $5,000 for not really speaking his mind, but kind of doing it in Lane Kiffin's way. It's just crazy that the SEC did not agree with that call in the Auburn game. But Lane is Lane. I don't know how he can't keep his mouth shut for his fans and his players.
Well, I think when Lane goes overboard and Lane's going to Lane, as they say, is when he started tweeting out about how many pennies there are in $25,000. Look, the bottom line here is, and I'll say this real quick, is the league has got to do better. This is on the SEC is what's happened. We a few years ago in media days, they came up with this idea of having the central officiating office in Birmingham that they could lean on and get these calls correct. That they've got the money, they've got the technology and the personnel in order to do it. But the Ole Miss, the kickoff situation, they say they reviewed it. Shane, I really don't even believe that, frankly. I don't know what happened there, but they didn't spend any time on that play, and they should have, particularly after Auburn had those 2 debacles from the officials. But the bottom line is going to be is if you've got all this stuff at your fingertips, instead of trying to protect the officials and then fine your coaches, get the call right, take the time in order to do it. And if they had done that, none of this would have been a big issue. But this has been one of the few things people talked about this week all over the nation, is how the SEC has blown these 3 calls, all of them involving Auburn, and I don't think they're favoring Auburn. It just so happened to be that's what's happened. So I would think the league better be careful with this LSU game, and if they've got anything that's questionable, they need to review it without even asking twice.
No doubt about it, Brent. We got about 1 minute, 2 minutes left with you. Appreciate you joining. You're a Heisman Trophy voter. How difficult is it right now? I mean, I'm sure you have certain guys that you have on your list, but with the Big Ten just starting playing last week, you saw what Justin Fields did. How difficult is it going to be for you guys to vote on a winner this year?
Well, I think that's a great question, and particularly if you've got a lot of these Big Ten games that are going to be canceled. Obviously, Fields is up there. I mean, Jalen Waddle obviously was too. And look, at this point, I mean, you've got to take a real interest in Mac Jones at Alabama, the way they have played. But Bama's got multiple Heisman guys. I mean, you could look at Devonta Smith, or you could look at Najee Harris, the way he has played. So, I mean, if A&M, as you mentioned, is able to catch fire, does Kellen Mond get a look at that point too? And look, frankly, I think both Kyles at Florida, Trask and Pitts, deserve a look if they continue and they really break out during this time. So I would say, and obviously because of the schedule, but Shane, at this point going into November, we usually have a little bit of a pecking order, but right now it just makes it very difficult with the abbreviated games that have been played.
No doubt about it. Well, Brent, stay safe, my man. We'll talk to you next week. We appreciate you joining the show.
Always, Shane. Take care.
Yep. Celebration Points, where the Gators come to celebrate with premium brands like Bass Pro Shop, Tommy Hilfiger, Hotel Indigo, Nike, Medici's, Regal Cinemas. Coming spring of 2021, the HBC's new restaurant, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, and Visor's Rooftop Bar. We will see you at Celebration Point, where the Gators come to celebrate. Going to take our first time out of the program here. We come back, we're going to kick off our Baker Sporting Goods High School Roundup.
This is Shane Matthews. Thank you for listening to Pot Up with Matthews in the Morning. You can also check me out on Inside the Huddle with Steve Russell and the head ball coach, Steve Spurrier. Tune in every Tuesday during football season on WRUF 98.1 FM, 8:50 a.m. at 10 o'clock in the morning, or find us on your favorite podcast platform. We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Our Gridiron sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Area Rug Masters, your number one choice in Gainesville for all your rug cleaning services. Meldon Law, where you matter most. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Celebration Point Town Center. Center State Bank. Chris Doring Mortgage. Some of our touchdown sponsors are Campus USA Credit Union, The Digital Mortgage Guy, Adams Ribs, Doreen Wiebe Realtor, Caldwell Banker MM Parish, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Davis Gainesville Chevrolet, Miapa Latin Cafe, Rap Spot, Okido America, Gators Dockside, Radware, Style Cuts, Ironwood Golf Course, TB Financial, Meadowbrook Golf Course, Dar Shakow Insurance. Again, thank you for all the great businesses that support the show. Please remember, if you like what we are doing here, thank our sponsors and support the businesses that support us.
Now joined by Oak-Hall football head football coach RJ Fuhr here on the Baker Sporting Goods High School Roundup. Good morning, RJ. How are you?
Good morning, Shane. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so, I mean, gosh, Oak-Hall goes undefeated this year. You get a first-round bye. You're the number one seed. You won't play for, 2 more weeks. Just talk a bit briefly. You know, we've had you on before, how y'all had to go from 11-man regular football, I call it, to 8-man football. And, gosh, you and your coaching staff have to be ecstatic with the way the season's turned out.
Yeah, it's really lined up well. And, again, I keep going back to the kids because they bought into the 8-man deal and bought into our new system. And it's been great. I'm just really happy for the kids, especially our seniors. And, you know, it's been good. We had 2 weeks ago, we played All Saints at their place. They were undefeated as well. And it was a dogfight. It was, we ended up winning 20-13. have a feeling we may see them again. Hopefully, right. if all goes well, and we'll play the winner next Friday. We'll host the winner of Masters Academy and Merritt Island Christian, and God willing, we can win that game and end up making a trip to Lakeland. They have the state championship game is at Bryan Stadium, where the Lakeland High School plays. So pretty neat venue there. 5,000 seat capacity and all that. So yeah, it's a big deal, obviously. And I told the kids last night, after practice, just stay focused and keep doing what we're doing. And, I don't want to make it bigger than, it is, but it's pretty big, Yeah. I think we're so young that our kids don't even realize it, which may be a good thing.
That's awesome. So you get a week off. So I know coaches don't like to look ahead, but how many games do you have to win to get to the state championship in that classification? Just that one game?
Semifinals, yeah. So it's
wow.
I know, yeah. So it's it's a big deal. We're trying to keep level-headed, and it's nice having a bye week this week, but you gotta keep them focused and keep them in check. And we are banged up a little bit, as most teams are after 7 weeks, and we've got a small roster, so most of our guys are going both ways. So I think it's a good thing. We had a hard practice last night, though. Yesterday we went full pads, put them through the paces, but then we'll kind of ratchet it down here today and tomorrow. But we're going to give them Friday off. But yeah, we're excited.
So I guess obviously you don't know who your opponent's going to be this week during the bye week. Did you work on a little bit of both of your opponents?
Yes, sir. Yeah. So we played Masters Academy the second game of the season. So we know sort of what to expect there, and have had some games on film, obviously, from them, including ours against them. Obviously, we started watching Merritt Island Christian, and just to kind of get an idea. So, yeah, we do what we do on offense. I mean, there's, we are who we are, and we're a single wing team, so there's not a whole lot of changes there. But defensively, try and scheme them up a little on both sides. With Masters, it was only our second game of the year, so we were still learning. We were still learning how to coach 8-man football. So,
right.
Hopefully, we've learned a little bit.
You talked about y'all running the single wing. In 8-man football, are there a lot of other teams that y'all have played running the single wing?
No, thankfully we're the only one in the league. Yeah, so it's it's kind of like, and I mentioned to you before, trying to prepare against a Navy or Army, used to be Georgia Tech. It's hard to simulate that in practice. That's a good thing for us. It kind of evens the levels of playing field a little bit in terms of, if we're going against a team that might be faster or bigger, it's tough. It's funny. Yesterday I went on the scout defensive side trying to give my offensive coordinator fits a little bit. So we had a little bit of a battle going back and forth between Coach Rawls, my defensive coordinator, and he and I were trying to scheme some things up. And I tell you, it's a hard offense when it's run correctly. It's a hard offense to defend. It really is. But I think we're getting better and better at it each week too. So it's a good thing.
Well, that's awesome, Coach. We appreciate you taking the time. Y'all get rested up this week, and then we'll check in with you in 2 weeks when y'all play to go have a shot at a state championship. That's good stuff for those kids. So good luck to y'all. Y'all stay safe, and we appreciate you joining the show.
Thanks, Shane. Thanks for all you do.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for joining Baker's Sporting Goods High School Roundup here on Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning.
We're now joined by Buchholz Bobcat head football coach Mark Whittemore here on the Baker Sporting Goods High School Roundup. Good morning, Coach. How are you?
Morning. Great to see you, Shane.
Yeah. All right, Mark, you your last game, you missed a game due to COVID. Fletcher out of Jacksonville Beach had to cancel on you 2 weeks ago. You played a really good Fleming Island team last Friday at Citizens Field, and you came out victorious. Talk a little bit about that game.
Well, we showed a lot of resolve in that game. Fleming on paper is probably a little bigger, a little stronger than us. We probably had a little bit more speed on the field than they did. But it was a toe-to-toe matchup. They were ground and pound, and we got the ball in the air a couple of real opportune times and made some really good catches. And we're able to grind some clock as well with our running game. But, it was two really good 7A football teams going toe-to-toe here at Citizens Field, and really excited for our kids that we came out victorious.
Your son, Creed, has had to step in and play quarterback. Talk about how he's developed, how he's gotten better each week.
Well, Shane, as you know, there's little nuances to the game, situational awareness stuff that, those first few games, we were really trying to speed up his learning curve with, knowing where the sticks were, knowing, when to take the shot and when to get the first down. If you have a play called that has a chance, and the opportunity developed in it to take a shot, we don't really want to do that when it's 4th and 5,
Right.
I mean, just things like that a sophomore quarterback who was, is kind of a slot that is becoming a quarterback has to get used to. I think he's really progressed in his learning curve and becoming a kid who is really aware of what's going on in the game and how to manage it.
You have a really good running back who has a bunch of D1 offers. Have you been able to run the football like you wanted to?
Yeah. And I tell you, Shane, our offensive line coach, Matt DiBernardo, who was the head coach at Oak Hall for several years there. And he's just done a fantastic job. One of the best I've ever seen with the tools we've got. And our offensive linemen have been going above and beyond, really in many ways taking their capabilities to the furthest place they could. And so he's done a great job of developing those kids. So to answer your question, yeah, we've been able to run the football, and so I'm pleased. I mean, we've got a pretty even attack going right now.
Yeah. Defensively, you pleased with the performance so far?
Sure am. Yeah. We're starting to learn how to give great effort to the echo of the whistle. And when I say that, we're starting to get to that point where our DNs are making plays down the field. You know how it is, just taking your game to a place that it hasn't been before. For a lot of these kids, it's starting to click. Matt Clayton off the edge is just playing real inspired football. And you see that in his clips as he pursues ball, plays out to the the edges of where he's capable. Big time football players.
Coach, you got Creekside this Friday night over in St. Johns County. Really good football team. They're very improved over the last 5 or 6 years. What do the Bobcats have to do to beat Creekside?
Well, they're a team that's well coached. They're going to be where they're supposed to be, and they're going to play, with their hair on fire. So, when you turn on the film, you see some pretty big bodies. They've got one kid, number 52, plays, inside there at the D tackle position, 6'4", 280, and can run like a deer. So they've got some kids that really scare you defensively. They stop the run super duper well. They bend but don't break. So they've got, they have an interesting scheme, a lot of games inside. It's going to be a really tough out for us. So we're preparing like we should. I mean, they're ranked ahead of us. They're a really good football team.
But what's interesting about this game is this is who you got picked out of a hat, the team you play week 1 of the playoffs. So when do the playoffs start? How many more weeks till they start up?
Oh, we've got 2. So we've got this week, and then the following week is our final game. We'll play Santa Fe, and then we go into the play-in game, which is just drawn out of a hat. Like, it's irrespective of any record or anything, and so we have to play in that first week. It's if we go all the way to the state championship, we play 6 total games. So that's one more than normal. And it was completely a blind draw, and we drew Creekside.
Right.
Or
So
they drew
basically,
up.
you're going to play Creekside in Friday night, and then 2 weeks later you're playing them, correct?
That's right. Yeah.
So I'm asking you. I mean, obviously you want to go out and win this football game Friday night, but you as your staff, are y'all going to just play vanilla, or hold some things back?
Honestly, Shane, the problem with this whole situation that you have to face as a coach is we don't know we're going to have.
Well,
I mean, shoot, I mean, it's so up in the air week to week that we hesitate from doing too much gamesmanship here because, I mean, doggone, this could be our last game. I mean, It actually could be our last game. And the kids know that, we know that. So truly we're really hesitant to, to be too vanilla because we're kind of treating every game like it's our last. And I think that's the right approach. So, saying that, obviously you understand our dilemma.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, Coach, we appreciate you taking the time to join us. Good luck to the Bobcats against Creekside, and we'll talk to you soon.
Hey, appreciate it, Shane. Take care of yourself. Take care.
Yes,
High School Roundup Thursdays brought to you by Baker Sporting Goods.
We're now joined by the head football coach of Trinity Catholic, John Brantley. Good morning, John. How are you, my man?
Shane, how are you, sir? Good to see you.
Doing good, Coach. It's been a whirlwind. I tell you, the Celtics, good football team, but you played a very, very difficult schedule. You sit at 3-3 right now. Let's talk about those games that you played. We haven't spoken, I think, since you played, the 8A school, Sandalwood out of Jacksonville. You've lost to the Villages, but you also played bowls. Did your team get better playing those type of opponents?
Well, I sure hope so. I mean, you play talent like that, you're going to get better when you get hit in the mouth. And our kids reacted well. Unfortunately, we had to go to Jacksonville to play bowls, #1 team in 4A with a freshman quarterback. So not the outcome we were looking for, but our kids played tough, 7-0, I believe, at halftime. And finally, their depth kind of took over. But had a good game against Sandalwood. They kicked the field goal to beat us with 1.9 seconds to go in the game beat us 17-14. And this past week, we traveled down to Lakeland to play Victory Christian, who was runner-up. They got beat in the state championship last year. They won it the year before, and we came away with a big 20-7 win down in Lakeland against Victory Christian this past week.
And this week, you got another cupcake on your schedule, right?
I believe somebody told me it's either the third or the fourth team. When we played them, they were undefeated, and Calvary Christian from Clearwater comes to Ocala and undefeated 5-0.
Oh, wow. How do they look on tape?
Good. Well coached, well disciplined. One of your top tier 3A teams. They'll be coming out of the South, but just another good Bay Area team that has a good program down there.
Wow. Coach, you pretty healthy right now?
Not bad. I mean, we got everybody back that was quarantined. We got a couple dings just like everybody else. But, you go to practice every Monday not knowing what's going to happen next, and hope by the time you're prepared and get ready for Friday, a majority of them are there. But we still have a couple of kids that probably won't play this week. But that's the reason I set our bye week for the next week prior to the playoffs, because if you make a strong run at it, especially in 3A, it takes 5 games to win it all. So you almost obviously you play another half of a season, and you got to be lucky to stay healthy through all of that.
So this is your last regular season game, get a bye, and then you have a team out of Melbourne coming in to Ocala week 1 of the playoffs?
Melbourne Central Catholic come to Ocala on the 13th, and that'll be the first round of the playoffs. And then the 14th, which is Saturday, we're having our 10-year reunion. It's unbelievable. 10 years has passed since we won the state back in 2010, and we'll have all the former players and coaches back for the first playoff game on Friday night, and then Saturday having a big get-together to reminisce and tell stories and lies and talk about the state championship we won 10 years ago.
Yeah, that's good stuff. No question about it. All great memories for sure. Coach, good luck to y'all. We'll talk to you before you play in the playoff game. Y'all stay safe down there in Ocala.
All right, Shane, I wore my Masters shirt just for you. I'm gearing up for that as well.
I like that. Yep. They're going to have game day in Augusta. It's going to be interesting. And what is it, 2 weeks, I believe. So,
yep, 13th
yeah, I can't wait.
And 14th, that weekend and everything. So that's going to be a different deal that time of year for the Masters and with no spectators.
Yeah, that's true. Going to be a good one for sure. All right, Coach, be safe, man. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, Shane.
Yep, that's John Brantley from the Trinity Catholic Celtics.
Thank you for joining the Baker Sporting Goods High School Roundup.
We're now joined by head football coach of the Newberry Panthers, Edward Johnson. Good morning, Coach. How are you?
Doing well. Thank you for having me on, Shane.
Absolutely. Coach, you sit at 6-1. You got a game last week that was scheduled with Santa Fe that had to be canceled due to some COVID issues at Santa Fe. Was it tough not playing this past week, or did y'all work on certain things for the future of the rest of the season?
We definitely took advantage of the downtime. We got to scrap the game plan, so we got to prepare a little bit moving forward. And it was a good week for us to heal up a little bit, those bumps and bruises we had.
Yeah, no doubt. You got this week, this Friday night, you have the Fort White Indians. I think they're struggling a little bit this year. They got a big old quarterback from what I've heard. It's pretty talented. What have you seen from Fort White on tape?
Yeah, it starts with Tyler Jefferson, their quarterback, big, strong kid, big lefty. He's a really good quarterback, fundamentally sound, and he can sling it all over the field. So, they're having a little down year this year, but, with him out there slinging around, it always gives them a chance.
So you got Fort White. Is that your final regular season game, or do you have somebody after that?
Actually, we had Jacksonville Paxton, but that game just got scrapped yesterday. So we're looking right now for at last week's game. If not, we'll just go into the playoffs.
And your first game in the playoffs is against who?
Trenton.
Trenton, that's right. I forgot.
Yes.
It's crazy how these playoffs are. So, yeah, you're very familiar with Trenton, no doubt about it. So, yes. Through these 7 games, you're 6-1. Pretty pleased with the play of all the kids?
Oh, yeah. I feel like we're getting better every week, especially up front. Our linemen are playing a lot better as we move forward. And, the kids are playing hard. That's all you can ask for at this point. So, we're happy where we're at, and we're going to keep working. Yeah,
I know you don't like to talk about your son, but we're going to talk about him for a minute. He's got an offer to go play baseball at Florida State, correct?
Not an offer. It's just some talking back and forth. COVID's kind of, screwed up a lot of things with recruiting classes. So, there's some interest. UNF is another school that's showing some interest. So, we'll see. He's weighing those options. Okay. Does he want to play? Was he rather play baseball in college or football? Baseball. He would definitely, if he had a choice, he'd choose baseball. But, if football presented itself, he'd definitely think about it. All right. Well, good deal, Coach. Well, we appreciate you joining us for this short period of time. Yes, sir. I know it's been a rough, long year, but hopefully y'all can keep playing and then get ready for the playoffs. Good luck against Fort White. Thank you. I appreciate it, Shane. Yes, sir. That's Coach Ed Johnson over in Newberry.
Thank you for joining Baker's Sporting Goods High School Roundup here on Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning.
We're now joined by Santa Fe Lady Raider volleyball head coach Eric Marshall. Good morning, Coach. How are you?
All right, sir. How are you?
Doing well. You had a big win over. Let me start over. I just forgot who you played. South
Walton.
South Walton. All right, scratch that, Evan. Scratch that. Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Now we're going to be joined on the Baker Sporting Goods High School Roundup. Head volleyball coach Eric Marshall from Santa Fe High School. Good morning, Coach. How are you?
All right, sir. How you doing?
Doing well. You had a big win over South Walton. Tell us how that match went.
Well, they came to play for sure. I got to give them all the credit. A lot of people were saying, well, you didn't play well. You didn't play well. I just got to give them the credit. They played extremely well. They obviously had scouted us very well, knew what to do. For us, it was a battle the entire 4 sets. It was just a really good game.
So when you look at the brackets now, you head over and you play, I don't know if they come to your place or you have to go to Jacksonville, but you got to play Bishop Kenny, which usually has a pretty good program. What do you see that you've seen on tape or from your scouting, what you have to do to beat Bishop Kenny?
Well, we've actually played them twice this year. We had them at our place, and then we met them in a tournament. Both of those matches we won, but they were both very good matches. Could have gone either way, especially in the tournament. To be honest, in the tournament, I thought they had us beat. Game 3, they were up. So it's a pretty evenly matched team, and we have to play at their place. They pack a lot of fans in there for their place, so it's a difficult place to play. But it's just going to be 2 evenly matched teams, and whoever shows up and plays their best is going to win the match.
And from this match, after the Bishop Kenny match, is it the Final Four, or how's that all work?
So, yeah, it'd be the Final Four. Which, which I've already done, our guess is Academy of the Holy Names is who we would play. We think they have the advantage there. And then everybody thinks, and whether it works this way or not, it will be Lake Highland Prep on the other side.
Okay. And then where do they have the volleyball Final Four at?
So it's in Fort Myers. I believe it's called the Suncoast Arena. Okay. Which is, I'm not sure what they're called, either JUCO or Division III, but it's a brand new, beautiful arena that this will be the 3rd year in a row they've had it there, and they do a really good job.
Yeah. So Saturday afternoon, I believe, is when you're going to be playing Bishop Kenny?
Yes, 2 p.m.
Okay, 2 p.m. over there. Do they have any standouts at Bishop Kenny that concern you, or they're just more of a good, solid team?
No, they have I believe she's a sophomore. I'm not sure, 6 feet, 6'2", something like that.
Wow.
They play her on the right side usually. They get her the ball. She's very tough to stop. They have I believe she's a senior outside that's just super savvy. She's not real tall. She's probably 5'8", but very savvy, been doing it a long time, manipulates the ball really well. And then they're very well coached. I mean, she's been doing it for many, many years. She knows what she's doing. She scouts. She understands the game. She understands how to beat us. So it's going to be a really, really fun, very nerve-wracking match.
Well, Coach, we wish the Raiders a lot of luck. Hopefully y'all can get this victory and head on down to the Final Four, and we will talk to you in a couple of weeks.
All right, sir. Once again, I appreciate you having me on.
Absolutely. That's Coach Eric Marshall from Santa Fe Volleyball.
High School Roundup Thursdays brought to you by Baker Sporting Goods.
Now we're joined by Newberry Volleyball head coach Hank Roan. Good morning, Hank. How are you?
All right, man. Doing good. How are you doing?
Good, Hank. You coming off a big win. You move on to the next round of the playoffs, which you'll be playing a game Saturday. And I want to say that game, if you win that game, do you go to the Final Four?
Yeah, we have Trenton again, and if we win, you're considered Final Four state championship. So that's when the state championship happens. But a few years ago, you would actually travel like basketball does, and you would go to one location for the Final Four. But now they do a host event, and you play, and then you go down to Fort Myers if you win that one. So we're 2 away.
So basically, only 2 teams go to the actual venue for the state title.
Correct.
Why did they change that?
I'm not sure. I mean, basketball has done it that way forever. Volleyball used to do it. So now, you win your regional championship, you're in the state championship finale, which is the Final Four.
So you got Trenton, as you mentioned, Saturday. You've played Trenton multiple times, beaten them every time, but they're a much improved team, right?
Yeah, I think their coach has done a great job with them. They're got a lot faster on defense. He's really taught them how to read blocks, and they're actually blocking a little bit better than they ever blocked. And our thing is we got to take care of what we can do on our side, and just my big thing is just play big. We just have to block and put up big blocks and make them hit around us and hit over top of us, and I think we'll be fine.
Okay, so we're gonna take our coaching hat off, and we're gonna look ahead. If you beat Trenton, who would you host in Newberry the next round?
Yeah, we would host, and we'd host the Bell Union winner, so we will host.
Okay, so these teams aren't traveling very far.
No, we're not traveling far at all, which is good. All of us are within 20 miles of each other, 30 miles of each other at the most.
Okay, so either Newberry, Trenton, Bell, or Union County, one of those 4 teams will be basically have a chance to play for the state title. So looking ahead, I know we don't like to talk about that, but I guess it would probably be Bell would be the one that was favored. I guess Newberry would be favored in their match over Trenton. Bell's favored over Union County.
Yeah, Bell's beaten Union County, every time, but I know the last time, just like, Trenton did with us, Union pushed Bell a little bit. But, Bell remembers last year. They were a really good team last year, and they beat Brantford like 3 times during the course of the year, and then they ended up getting upset in the regional championship. And I'm sure that coach has definitely reminded them of that because they want us bad, and it'll be a great match if we have more matchup problems against Bell than we do against Union.
Okay, and so you're playing Trenton Saturday. The next game after that, when would you be playing either Bell or Union County?
We'll play the next Saturday at 2:00.
Okay, so it's a week in between games.
Yeah, the only problem with that next Saturday is there's something big going on in Jacksonville too at 3:30.
What time is the volleyball match?
2 p.m.
Well, you gotta end it early. You gotta sweep the first 3 sets, right?
Yeah, that's what everybody wants to do. But whoever we play, they're there.
They
for
can't
a reason,
change.
so.
You can't change the time of y'all's game.
I wish we could move it up an hour. That'd be perfect. That'd be perfect.
Well,
but the state sets these times, and last night, they moved our game up because Fort Meade had to travel so far. They moved us to 6. And you got to get permission from Florida High School Athletic Association, but they never updated it on their side. So old Marty came out to do our game, and he showed up about 5 to 7. So he only got to see about 1 set, So, and that was a set we won 25 to 4.
All right. Well, Hank, we appreciate you joining the show. Good luck to y'all against Trenton on Saturday. And we'll be talking to you as y'all move towards playing for a state title.
We appreciate it. And we do it one game at a time, and that's all we're looking for is Trenton. So I appreciate you having us on, man. Thanks.
All right, buddy.
Hey, Gator Nation, this is your former head ball coach, Steve Spurrier. Check out our show, Inside the Huddle with Shane Matthews and Steve Russell, every Tuesday during football season on 8:50 a.m. and 98.1 FM WRUF at 10 o'clock a.m.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Our Gridiron sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility.
Area Rug Masters, your #1 choice in Gainesville for all your rug cleaning services.
Meldon Law, where you matter most. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte.
Celebration Point Town Center, Center State Bank, Chris Doring Mortgage. Some of our touchdown sponsors are Style Cuts, Ironwood Golf Course, TB Financial, Meadowbrook Golf Course, Dar Shakow Insurance, Pomodoro Cafe,
Big Mills Cheesesteaks,
MB Listing, Cornerstone Financial, McDonald's Gainesville, My IT Masters, Gainesville Neon and Signs, 84 Lumber, Tropical Smoothie, Chick-fil-A on Archer Road, Aver and Smith Personal Injury Attorneys, Orange Theory Fitness, PRP Regeneration Specialist, and Dowling Signs.
Again, thank you for all the great businesses that support the show. Please remember, if you like what we are doing here, thank our sponsors and support the businesses that support us.
Welcome back to this Thursday edition of Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. This Day in Sports is brought to you by Area Rug Masters, Gainesville's most trusted area rug cleaners. With free pickup and delivery, Area Rug Masters is the convenient way to keep focal point of your room looking brand new. Call Area Rug Masters 352-448-5999. In 1960, Cassius Clay, better known as Muhammad Ali, wins his first professional fight in Louisville, Kentucky on points in 6 rounds. That's brought to you by Area Rug Masters. Don't forget, tomorrow is Friday. Got a good show. JC and I will have our Peachland Dentistry, JC and the QB weekend picks. We'll also have Mike Morgan from the SEC Network and Peter Ball talking Missouri Tigers. Today's show's a wrap, brought to you by Wrap Spot. Be safe out there, folks. See you tomorrow.